What's up, disc golfers? Joe here for Joe's Disc Golf, and I got a whole bunch of fun stuff to talk about today, including the first ever interview hosted here, right now, on this channel, with a very, very important person, with a very, very special guest, which shall be named at a later time. I'd like to announce my announcement that I will be announcing an announcement later about the announcement of my special guest later. Fantastic guest coming up here soon. Plenty of stuff to talk about. This is the last time for this year that I will have to try to come up with a whole bunch of topics, because I will have so many more things to talk about, because we'll have maybe it won't be. We will have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about coming up here soon, that is, with the All-Star Weekend coming up next weekend, so I'll have a preview for that, see if I could get any information out here about the course that they're playing in Tucson at the resort. I've played one course in Tucson, and it was a lot of fun. It was very different than what I'm used to. A lot of sand, a lot of triple mandos to make the course harder. Otherwise, generally speaking, it was just wide open. This was a couple years ago. I was there for a work trip, and I did all right. Now, all I had with me was a putter, a mid-range, and a fairway driver. Most of them weren't that great. Like I want to say I took like a Felon as my fairway driver. I probably took my EMAC Truth, and my only putter is the Judge, of course. So that was pretty straightforward. But, there are times where I'm like, I need to do a forehand shot here. EMAC Truth is not so great with my forehand. Not because it's not a great disc, but because I'm not great with the disc. Then you've got things like, I had other shots where it's like, well, I need more distance than what the Felon can get me. Shoot for par and be happy. Tucson's got some fun courses out there. Unfortunately, I was not able to play more than just the one, and I can't recall which course it was, but I do remember running into a group of nice guys that let me tag along, not from the area, very clearly by the fact that it was March, and I was in shorts and a t-shirt, very pasty, and the locals were in long pants and long sleeves, so I could tell they're like, you ain't from round these parts, are you? I'm like, not at all. Midwest pasty boy over here. But hey, it was a good time. It was a great time. Going to talk a little bit about the European players coming over here, as well as the European Open and the players headed over there. Should be a good time there. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully a lot of fun things will happen there, but we shall see. Who knows what is going to happen? But first, I'd be remiss if I forget to talk about our sponsor, which of course is Log. What rolls downstairs a loner in pairs rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and it fits on your back? It's Log from Blammo. Now, I'd like to announce that I will have an announcement soon. We're getting closer to the time that I will be having my very, very special guest coming to do the very first interview ever here. Can you tell I'm nervous? I'm excited. This is crazy. I don't even know what's going on. This person is like awesome. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a ton of fun. Hopefully start getting some more interviews out here. So if you know anyone that I should try to interview, please keep it reasonable. Still a small podcast and YouTube channel growing slowly. As long as I can, as I learned from my counterparts on the Half in the Bag Disc Golf podcast, if I guilt all of you, you will listen longer. So I'd like to guilt all of you into sharing this podcast with your friends. Share it through the App Store, share it through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube. You can listen to a talking head there. I try to make things fun and do wild gestures with my hands. Not sure what to do with my hands right now. The car, it felt like a spaceship. it went really fast. Talladega Nights, great movie. Will Ferrell, funny guy, in the right context. Anyway, getting back to this, share it. Twitter, Instagram, wherever. Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever, anywhere. I'm available. My relationship status when it comes to my podcast is open. So come on and join me for a good time as I take you on an audio experience unlike any other. I never said if that was a good or bad audio experience, but it is unlike any other that you've ever experienced. Did not get out to play much in ways of the disc golf. Have been practicing my putting a lot more. However, we are currently in the Midwest suffering through the Snowpocalypse 2022. We've gotten like a foot of snow. What really did us in was it rained, and then it got below freezing, and then it was that wet, slushy snow that froze on top of all the rain that was underneath. So the rain washed away all the salt on the roads, and then we got this heavy, wet snow, and that froze. And so it was like the perfect storm, which is a movie I've never seen, but I digress. It was just bad. I mean, trying to get out there, I don't mind playing in the snow, but with how sloppy and nasty it was, it would actually be legitimately dangerous to go out there. And so I have not been out to play. My wife has been home taking care of our daughter, as well as doing work from home. I've been home, also doing work from home, and we kind of do some tradesies. Like I'll watch her for 2 hours, and then while my wife works, and then she'll watch her for 2 hours while I work for 2 hours, and all that fun jazz. Teamwork makes the dream work. So I've heard. I don't know where I've heard that before, but I know I've heard it a lot. I have been a little more active on Reddit, and Reddit. The source, the cause of, and solution to all of life's problems, to paraphrase Homer Simpson, because there are times where I don't understand. Like, I can, I grew up with the internet. I can distinguish pretty well between someone who's trolling, someone who's an idiot, and someone who's, generally asking a question or generally like a good person trying to answer things. And someone had posted, I forget off the top of my head, but it was posted on Reddit about the average distance you need to get a birdie for all of the Disc Golf Pro Tour stops. Now, this Redditor did that first, made a separate post where they had two different sets of data for local courses and I think regional courses from wherever this person was from, and a third picture with the original stuff of all the DGPT stuff. And I made a comment along the lines of, wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize I could theoretically birdie about 75% of the Disc Golf Pro Tour stops. Now, in his data, it shows that you need to be able to throw 400 feet to be able to birdie everything. And with my forehand, I can throw right at about 400 feet, give or take. And I specifically said in this post saying, I am completely ignoring accuracy and I'm ignoring my putting. Just flat out. And I even said, a guy can dream, just let me have this one. And there was one person who, and my post was like 3 sentences long. And this person wrote like 2 paragraphs, just reading me the riot act, just going at it, just like, it takes more than just the distance to do that. And that's why these guys, and I've played this course and I've played that course and they're so tough. And I was like, dude, read my post. I specifically said nothing, like ignore accuracy, ignore putting. So ignore at least 2/3 of the game. At least 2/3 of the game. And I was actually surprised at how relatively short these courses were. And this guy just didn't get it. I mean, apparently 3 sentences is too long. I don't even know if it was 3 sentences. It was like 3 lines on my phone. And phone read it, like that's not, that's a couple inches. That's it. I got an iPhone 12. Like, it's not that big. That's what she said. But yeah, it was one of those things where I'm just like, really, dude? really? Are you like, is this real life right now? I don't even know. Like, but whatever. I just kind of was like, reiterated the point of like, if you saw my previous post, if you read all 3 lines and saw that I said something to the effect of, to all you naysayers out there, let me just have this one while I'm not paying attention to accuracy and putting. So, yes, clearly, if I could birdie 75% of the DGPT courses, do you think I'd be hosting a podcast, and do you think no one would know my name? If I'm birdieing 75% of the holes out on tour, I'm probably at the very least in the top 10. Anybody birdieing 75% of the holes day in, day out on a Disc Golf Pro Tour, you are in the top 10 for sure. For sure. Because you're looking at what? Birdieing probably right around, well, 2/3 would be 12. So you're looking at birdieing right around 14 holes. You're looking at shooting a 14 down every round. I forget top 10. I'm winning everything. Everything. Maybe now when it comes to, like those golf courses where you've just got to throw it 700 feet. Yeah, probably not going to happen. Not going to happen. However, that'd be insane. I did not even realize. Wow. If I could just birdie 75% of the holes, I'd be a household disc golf name, which would make me still not very popular. But hey, I could land a big old fat contract, make Paul Macbeth look like a pauper, because again, I'm shooting 75% birdies. Game on. Somebody's going to clip that, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be out of context and just go, no. They would, anyone on tour, MPO and FPO, would most likely, anyone with a tour card, let me say it that way, anyone with a tour card would bend me over a barrel and show me the 50 states without even breaking a sweat, unless maybe we're at, Dogwood in August. Then we're all breaking a sweat just from stepping out of our car, because Tyler, Texas in August is brutal. Absolutely brutal. But that brings me into my next segment here. The European reopening. Wait, what? Okay, here we go. Sorry. Wrong article I was on. The European reopen, 5 key storylines in 2022. This is according to Ulti-World Disc Golf. It's been slow in the news and still learning the ranks of how to create written content that doesn't involve things happening, coming up with content such as this. So I'm totally using this as a jumping off point. Their first point, and as I read through this is not in any particular order other than the order that they wrote this down. So, which European players are at which tournaments? There are actually quite a few coming in. There are a majority of them are coming in, I believe, for this first half or this first chunk of the tour, where it is Las Vegas Challenge through, depending on how it goes, Champions Cup, Jonesboro Dynamic Disc. Somewhere in there is when it's usually people kind of breaking off from there. But that's kind of still going to be pretty crazy. Man, you can hit so many tournaments as a European player coming over here. It's already been announced, like people like Kristen Tatar, Henna Blomroos, Evelina Salonen, Linus Carlson, Nicholas Antila, Lori Lentelin, Vino Makala, Lucas Rokinen, Michael Ham, Albert Tam, Newt Holland. I apologize for anyone. Peter Lund, Blair. I'm just going to stop right there. He's from Iceland. Silver Lot. These are all people coming over here that are going to be here for a lot of this. Las Vegas Challenge, Waco, Texas State's Champions Cup, tons and tons of people here. And what's actually surprising that Disc Golf Ulti-World Disc Golf does or says is that you can hit 66% of the tours. You can hit all of the majors and plenty of Silver Series events. European MPO would just need 2 round trips, which isn't too bad. You start at Las Vegas, you go to Waco, you go to Texas States, you go to Champions Cup, Jonesboro Dynamic Discs, then you go to the Cokedale Open, the Heatland Open, the Yarva Open, Nokia Open. You come back here, most likely, I'm just going to throw this out there, you're going to skip USDGC. Well, you're going to have to skip USDGC if you go to the Altergauss Open. Then you've got Tuni, PCS Sula Open, the European Open, which a bunch of U.S. players are going, the Turuk Open, and then you go to Ledgestone, Des Moines, PDGA Worlds, GMC MVP, USDGC, and DGPT. You've got the alphabet soup at the end of the year. So, how many of them are going to be coming over here? It's going to be great. It's going to be interesting. What I'm curious to see, and I've mentioned this in my draft, I've mentioned this in my top 10 and top 20. If you want to check out the top 10, go to Half in the Bag, episode 3, where myself, Ben, and RJ all give you our top 10 FPO and MPO players, as well as our combined top 10. Spoiler alerts, top 2 are Ricky and Paul, and top 3 actually include Eagle. So, spoiler alert there, the 3 best MPO players are at the top. I didn't have any European men in my top 10, only because I had travel restrictions. And my FPO top 10, it's not looking too, a lot of it depends on how many events that they could come over for. It looks like Kristen Tatar is going to be here for quite a few of them. So with that, I had put her up much higher. I have her in my number 3 spot. I think she could be a number 1. However, I don't know how many she's going to come over here, because she had those 4 events that she came over for. She had a quarantine for 2 weeks. She came over here. She went back. She tried to come back, and they're like, "Nah, what you quarantined, but you didn't quarantine gooder enough, even though it was gooder enough the last time." And that's me talking as the U.S. government. Actually, I probably sounded too smart there. Anyway, government's dumb. Life lesson there. It doesn't matter who's in charge. Anyway, yeah, so she couldn't come back, and it was a whole big thing. So, I have Hannah at my number 8, and this is by DGPT Pro Tour points. Not world rankings, not anything else. I have Hannah there. I have Evelina at 7, and then Kristen at 3. So I don't know. Those 3 women are all in the top 5 with Paige and Katrina. Those are your top 5 if they can come play enough DGPT events. Remember, this is points, not the DGPT championship, which is just a bracket and you just go down from there. So, which brings me into the next point of who the best female player in the world is. So, it's been 2 years since we've really seen the European women over here. And as of right now, just looking at the PDGA ratings, as of the last update in January, we have Paige Pierce at a 981. We have Kristen Tatar at a 976. Henna Blumroos at 973. Evelina Salonen at 972. Haley King, 970. Sarah Hokum, 968. Katrina Allen at 967. And within less than 20 points, within 18 points, Owen Scoggins. After that, you have Missy Gannon and Heather Young, who are both 955 rated, outside of that 20 points. But that just think of this. Last year, it was a 20-point gap to get to Paige Pierce. And now within 20 points, you have 7 female players here. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait because you look over at the European, like Kristen Tatar came over here and just slapped people, just totally spanked them here. And over there in the European Tour, Hannah Blomroos and Evelina Salonen spanked Kristen Tatar. It's just like, it's just crazy. And, Kristen Tatar came over here, so she got a nice little ratings boost because all of her rounds looked even better because Paige Pierce was rated so high. We've got ratings inflation. We've got ratings deflation over there. I don't know. It's crazy. It's going to be interesting these first couple tournaments to see how they do. I don't know how well Kristen plays at a course like Las Vegas Challenge where it's fairly open. Yeah, there's OB, but it's a golf course. Or, how she's going to do at Waco where it's kind of wooded, kind of not. Texas State's a very wooded course at Dogwood, so who knows? Here's the fun part. We've got this heated battle. Just absolutely brutal battle. So exciting. I can't wait to watch the FPO coverage coming up here. But then you've got, on the men's side, can the European men even make a lead card or win? Can they? I don't know. Linus Carlson would probably be one of your best bets. Same with Nicholas Antila and Lori Lentinen and Vaino Makala. Those guys are all right up there. They have potential to win, but you don't know. Who knows? Do you count Simon Lizotte in that? Because he's been living in the U.S. for a long time now. He's very well established. He's having a child here, which early congratulations to you, man. Fatherhood is absolutely great. But, what can happen? Nico won Waco last year at 10:32. Most people who win are right around 10:40. Oh, excuse me. But who knows? And then you've got somebody like Connor O'Reilly, who's 10:14 rated, wins Delaware Disc Golf Challenge, DDGC. And you've got, I almost put Nicholas Antila and Linus Carlson's names together, and that would have been bad. So they can definitely win, but who knows? It's going to be interesting to see how these do. And speaking of ratings inflation or deflation, it's interesting to see what happens there, because Ultiworld did ask Chuck Kennedy, the co-creator of the PDGA player ratings, which I think are stupid for the pros, because it really doesn't matter after a certain point. I think once you kind of hit that threshold, it's kind of like, well, whoop-de-doo. They're only going to get better. So, Paul was the highest rated player, and then Ricky beats him, so obviously his round has to be better than Paul's, and so on and so forth, and you slowly get this climbing, and it would not be a surprise to me if by the end of the year there was an 1,100 rated round. Next year, for sure, 2023, for sure, there will be an 1,100 rated round. Not player, maybe, who knows. It's interesting because, you've got these propagators and everything, and you've got some guys that are doing well over there and just dominating, and it's just not going to change the ratings as much as it would here. So who knows? Finally, the question will be, will the Europeans push any Americans off the tour? Potentially. The example they use that there are 120 MPO and 48 FPO slots. There are 14 European men plus Simon Lizotte, he's that awkward middle child, essentially, right now. And there are 3 European women. So I think on the women's side, that tournament, yes, it does fill up, but I don't think you're going to push out anyone who isn't like a local/regional pro. And I get that. Like, that's heartbreaking if that's something you always play, but the sport is growing, and this is part of some of that growing pains that we're going to have to suffer through. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry, like, especially this year with Green Mountain Championship and MVP Open are playoffs, and not everyone gets to play them. If you don't qualify, you don't get to play. And that kind of sucks. If that's something you've been doing for the last 10, 15, whatever amount of years, before it was the MVP Open, it was the Vibram Open, and all the different names that tournament has had, I feel sorry. I do. But at the same time, it happens, and it's part of the growing pains of disc golf growing to be a bigger sport. You wanted to grow the sport, and this is what we're doing. And I hope that, we can grow past this and grow out of it. But there are going to be some people who are hurt, and it is what it is. However, that does not mean that the weekend before we can't have, the MVP Open AM side or, local pro or lower level, call it an A tier, and no one's really going to show up, outside of the people who really want to play it. And you basically throw the big shindig like that. So who knows? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But, yeah. So here are the Europeans that will be coming on tour. We've got Simon Lizotte because, duh. We got, oh man, I'm sorry. We've got, Nicholas Antila, Vino Makala, Linus Carlson, KT Tate, Estonian name, Norway's Luke Lorentzen. God, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody whose name I just butchered. But, those are some of the people coming over here. They're also competing for your time and watch and dollars and watch time and all that fun stuff, because we've got the European Disc Golf Network, completely separate company, basically going about it the same way that the Pro Tour, Disc Golf Pro Tour went about it. They did their own thing. They started doing their own coverage. It wasn't great to start with, but then they're growing. And I think the Europeans have a bit of a leg up because disc golf is hugely popular over there, far more popular than it is here. However, it is what it is. And so you've got that going on. And they can also look at and ask the Disc Golf Network, like, hey, what'd you do? What worked? What didn't work? Now, are they going to tell them all the nitty-gritty details? No. But it's pretty easy to tell. Like, if you're someone who's in that business, you can go, it's like, oh, okay, they did things this way, and they do things kind of this way and kind of this way. So they're not, you're not totally reinventing the wheel. It's already mostly roundish. It just might be egg-shaped instead of completely circular. And, it happens, but that's just the way the things go. And, yeah, that's about all I got to say about that right there. We do have Champions Cup spectator tickets are now on sale. And if you're looking at the, they've been on sale since January 13th. And that was the all week long tickets. Those are sold out. Those were $215 for a full week of disc golf and all the joys that come with it. Now, if you wanted a VIP day pass, those are also all sold out. Those were... depending on which day, single day, if it was Thursday or Friday, it was $50. If you wanted Saturday and Sunday, it was $75 per day. There are still some tickets that will go on sale for the Bushnell Boulevard Day Pass tickets. Now, those are $60. Those are for the full week. Or no, sorry. Those are already out. If you wanted the full week, that was $60. Otherwise, it is $15 for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Sunday. With the Bushnell Boulevard, this gives you access to plenty of amenities, vending, spectating options, all that fun stuff. All hosted there at the International Disc Golf Center. Bushnell Boulevard pass holders will be able to view the disc golf action on select holes along Bushnell Boulevard. I'm not sure which ones that is, but you can see the full access here of everything you get. $215 all week. That's, in my mind, that's a little steep, but that's that's my personal opinion. That is 4 days of disc golf for $215. That's not bad. Not bad at all. But you know what else is something I thought of as I learned the hard way. Now, the Disc Golf Network discount that you get with the PDGA is for your first 12 months. I found that out when I tried to renew today. And I did not get my discount, and I emailed customer service. I was very nice. I was very polite. The gentleman that responded was very polite and nice. Nowhere on the PDGA website does it say that it is only for the first 12 months. It just says 50% active members get 50% off monthly discount on the Disc Golf Network subscription, a $60 value. When I tried to do that, it kept telling me that the code was expired, and I was generating a new code. And yes, so if you are thinking of doing that, maybe if you're going to share the account with a buddy or two, only one of you do it. And then the next year, the next guy can do it. And the next year, the next guy can do it. Otherwise, you have to create a new account. And I know exactly how the PDGA is going to get to that 300,000 mark really fast. They're going to have people trying to create a new account who really don't care about their rating, trying to get, if they want to, keep renewing, just keep making new PDGA accounts to get the discount because we're paying for it. And the PDGA says we get it, but Disc Golf Network says we don't get it. Can you tell them a little salty? But that's all right. That's how it goes. Yeah. But what else do you get with this? You get, if you are a PDGA member, you get some free Disc Golf Network coverage. Now, it does say, I don't like the way the PDGA writes it. It's very misleading, in my opinion. The way the PDGA writes it is PDGA members get free Disc Golf Network coverage of select Pro Tour events in 2022. First Pro Tour event of the year, Las Vegas Challenge. They don't count, as far as I know, they don't count the Disc Golf All-Star Weekend, which is fine because what you really want to see is Las Vegas Challenge. Trust me. You'll get the full coverage of the new major, the Champions Cup. They're really trying to hype that up. You'll get coverage of the U.S. Women's DGC because they think people won't watch it. I don't know. You'll get Pro Worlds, but only the final 2 rounds, and you'll get the last Pro Tour event of the season. Now, they didn't count the All-Star Weekend, so I'm not sure if they're going to count. They do count the DGPT Championship as an Elite Series event on the PDGA website, but I could also see it being potentially MVP Open. However, that is also just a... what's the word I'm looking for? That is a playoff event to qualify for DGPT Championship. So maybe you get that one. Maybe it's the Green Mountain Championship, also a playoff event for the DGPT Championship. Or it's Des Moines Challenge, which is the last official Elite Series stop. So I don't know. It is what it is. You also get a discount code or a discounted rate. You save $10 on B and C tier events for PDGA sanction, unless your club or your TD is smart and you just do it as a fundraiser as part of something else, and then they just waive that $10 fee for everyone, for members and non-members. Also, juniors, you do not have to pay that $10, so make sure that you get that all squared away so you don't end up having to pay that. As well as you get to track your improvement, you get event support, blah, 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 a membership, your voice, you get to vote, you get the Disc Golfer magazine, which is a $20 value, which whoop-de-doo, it is legitimately just reprinted articles that have been on the PDGA website. So if you even look at the PDGA main page more than, once a week, no, more than once every other week, it's a huge waste of money. And I'd rather, give me $5 off my membership if I don't want a copy of Disc Golfer magazine. It's a quarterly magazine. It's fine. It's a thing. It is what it is. I don't know. But right now, it is time. I've skipped the announcement and I've skipped the announcement of the announcement, and now I'm on to just the announcement. I'm about to kick it over to Interview Joe, and I'm going to interview my very special guest, who I will announce here for you in the next couple seconds, but for me, it's going to take like 20 minutes to get everything set up. So, by the magic of editing, here is the interview. All right, here we are in the interview. I'm interviewing the very special, very talented, very amazing 1/3 of the Half in the Bag crew, RJ, who's giving me a very puzzled look. Unfortunately, video is not.
You said that I was very talented, so you must know another RJ.
I didn't say it was disc golf.
Because it certainly isn't me.
I never said it was disc golf. Hey, you know, he does a mean Archer impression. Let me tell you.
Once.
Yeah, so this is the very first interview in the series of 1 interviews that we'll be doing here on the Joe's Disc Golf podcast. Maybe we'll have another one. Maybe I'll interview Ben. That would be interesting.
That would be
good. That would.
He'd have some good stories for you.
He would have a lot of good stories, and I would have to cut a lot down because unlike Half in the Bag, my podcast is like an hour or less. Half in the Bag is at like an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. And people
really
still
need to do
listen.
a better job of cutting it down.
Yeah. Well, the hard part is like the way we go at things. It just doesn't,
It's true.
It doesn't work.
And Ben and I are, and you, especially when you get all 3 of us together, we're a little bit of
scatterbrained.
I was gonna say blowhards.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's
just a wee bit talkative.
Just a little bit, and we can get going. Hey, fortunately, we haven't gone around in circles yet. That's the one thing I'm surprised. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll start out here. Who is your daddy and what does he do? Have you not seen Kindergarten Cop?
Nope.
Oh, there are some people yelling at the screen right now or yelling at their car that you have not seen Kindergarten Cop.
People going,
yeah.
That seems totally fair.
It's a mid-90s Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy-ish movie. It's probably on Netflix or Amazon or something, and it's worth a good time. You might want to have a few. You might want to be half in the bag. Hey. When you watch that, because it is very much it's Arnold Schwarzenegger acting with a bunch of kindergartners. Literally. Like the name kind of encapsulates all of it. It's funny.
That doesn't sound bad. With as much snow as we've gotten, it seems like we're just having snow days through the rest of this week. So that might be what one of my projects for tomorrow is to sit down and watch that.
Yep.
You and I are both in Northeast Indiana, where we've gotten, I don't know what the official measurements are, but today we're at about 2 heights of my dog. So
6
it's not
inches.
very tall, but I was going to say it's about 1.5 feet or so.
Give or take. The hard part is the wind's blowing a lot, and this is the lighter snow, so the drifts are bad. There are parts of my driveway where I had like 2 inches of snow, and another part where I had 2.5 feet.
Yeah, I was shoveling today, and I had like a probably the not quite knee high, but kind of upper calf high muck boot, muck style boots on, and there were places where my driveway snow was taller than that.
Yep.
And then places where it was like I was barely leaving footprints.
Yep.
When I was shoveling, but I know that your listeners are here to talk or here to listen to us talk about the weather, though.
Oh yes, lovely stuff. Nothing but the best here on Joe's Disc Golf Podcast, part of the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast Network. I'll get it right one day. Anyway, so I guess we can start out by saying, when did you start playing disc golf? Or asking, I should say. Yeah,
so I guess I kind of have 3 different points that I look back on.
Okay.
The first one, really before I knew anything about what disc golf was. There was a campground that my family and I used to go to that had a disc golf course on it. And occasionally we would just take one of the basic style frisbees, and we would just throw it, and we'd probably take 6 throws to get within putting range, and that was when I was maybe middle school, maybe high school, something like that.
Okay.
No, not even high school. Maybe middle school at the oldest. Probably closer to elementary school. So probably third, fourth grade.
Yeah.
Then when I really first started getting into disc golf, it's probably about somewhere between 2017 and 2019. Well, no, not
Someone
2019.
would say 2018 at that point.
Yeah, 2018, based on, I think I have Trilogy Challenge discs from 2018. So that's when I really got my first set of discs. When I first kind of understood this is how this is how you actually play disc golf.
Yep.
And then I really picked it up again probably the summer of 2020. I probably went the better part of a year to a year and a half, maybe even two and a half years where I didn't really play.
Yep.
There wasn't really anything convenient. Didn't really have a good opportunity to play, wasn't actively playing. And now I would say that I've really picked it up since middle of 2020. Everyone's got a hobby during the pandemic, and like a lot of people, I picked up disc golf, and that's really where I started to get more into it. Really started to focus on it more as a hobby, more than just what I did going out with my friends, with you and Ben, and
with a handful of discs and a
people.
6-pack.
yeah, where my drink number outnumbered the number of discs I would bring.
I thought you were going to say outnumber your score, but that we didn't take you to the hospital. But then again,
Correct.
Most of our scores when we were starting out,
Yes.
Less said the better.
So.
Not all of us can start on a fantastic beginner's course with severely overinflated pars.
Yes. I would say that the first couple courses, especially around here that we played on, they're really good courses. But if you're just starting out, they're tough. They're really, really tough. Because either they're, excuse me. Because either they're really wooded or they're, fairly long. It just makes it hard for beginners to really get into it.
Generally I say around here, Shoaf is probably your best beginner course. The hard part is the holes are long. I want to say the average is probably right around 300, 275, 300. If you don't count the 6 in the woods. Because if you're a new player, don't. Those are rather tough. And you've got a handful of trees on some holes. Some of them are just wide open where it's like, all right, it's a wide open hole. Now throw it 400 something odd feet. But there's no water.
Yes.
Where Sweeney is a much shorter course. Decent amount of trees. Not too bad, but there's a lot more water. So if you are someone new, I would avoid that course just because you're most likely going to lose at least one disc on several holes. But yeah,
and that's one of my things. Even to this day, I really shy away from open water. Excuse me, I got something caught in my throat.
I mean, most of us have a golden retriever, but you have a Bichon retriever? No, terrier retriever.
A multi-poo retriever.
Yes.
Certified biodynamic discs, I should say.
Exactly.
They retweeted that tweet that I sent out earlier.
Making the Big Ten.
I want to say it was Sunday before I went to my tournament this week, but
yeah. So what would be your favorite disc to throw?
My favorite disc to throw, I'd say it's a pretty easy choice for me. It's the first non-putter that I actually bought for myself.
You need to cut back to 2 packs a day.
Yeah, no kidding. two packs of beer, right?
Yes.
But no, for me, it's like I said, the first disc that I actually ever bought for myself. Not the first disc, but the first driver. I got in a 2-disc challenge. It's a Lucid Air Escape. I have it beat in real well at this point. I can. It is my go-to disc for when I want to shred a course if it is not too windy. That is the problem with the air plastic. It tends to get blown around pretty bad.
That air plastic or blizzard plastic or whatever everybody calls their super lightweight stuff. Yeah. It does not handle the wind, a headwind or a crosswind very well, but a tailwind or no wind, and that thing will cruise for miles.
Yeah. Yep. And actually there was last summer I was playing in a tournament, and it was one of like the 3 holes that didn't have a CTP on it. But naturally I parked it on that hole. Probably within, literally just a dump in the disc type throw.
I can understand that.
So that's
so all right. So that's Lucid Air Escape. I have an Escape myself, a regular Escape. That's a very good disc, very reliable. Little I shouldn't say understable.
It's a little understable.
The touch under neutral, I'd say.
Yes. Yes.
I don't want to say.
I also bag a normal Escape. I started doing that again last year.
For those headwind shafts.
What's that? Yeah. For the windier days, for the days where I wanted a little bit more stability than my Lucid Air Escape.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a great disc. It is a very beginner friendly disc for anyone that's getting into it. You don't have to go and get a Lucid Air Escape like I did. My wife actually bags 2 Prime Escapes from her starter sets, and it's something that is a very it's a beginner disc, and it's not just for beginners, but it's one that is very.
I bag one for those nice wood shots for kind of a hyzer flip with a left finish for a backhand. If I want something to, hyzer flip and stay straight, I throw my Vandal, because my Vandal for me is crazy understable. I've also had it since the Trilogy Challenge when it came out. I think that was the 2018 that you played.
No.
Or was it before that?
It was probably 2019 would be my guess.
I didn't play 2019.
Because 2018 was the musket.
Might be 2017 then. Yeah, that musket was... Oh, that disc is crazy. So, I guess then, talking about
Are you thinking of the musket or the patrol?
God, I hate the patrol. I threw that thing vertical. Like, I let it go. I was leaned over like crazy. I threw it vertical. It flipped up and still flipped over. I've never thrown anything that understable, especially throwing it at like I said, it was as pretty much vertical, and it still turned and burned. I don't even know how. That disc is crazy.
Yeah, I'd have to guess that's a big reason why it's out of production. Is just it's so understable for anyone that
even for beginners, it's difficult to control.
Yeah, it's a very touchy disc. I still bag it.
There are certain like low power shots that it's good for.
Yeah,
but it is like I'd rather pull out my Judge and throw that, because that's the time I would pull it out, and I can trust the Judge to hold whatever line and not turn over.
Yeah, I think the 2 shots that I used it for this last weekend, I actually got myself into a little bit of trouble with both times, but so be it.
It happens. So then what's one part of your game that you're working on for the 2022 season?
One part of my game that I'm working on for the 2022 season.
Yeah.
I would say that my biggest thing is putting. I got a putting or a practice basket. I got the EGA Mach Shift
Very good
at the
basket. I bet I
recommendation
have one
of somebody else on this
in this
interview.
conversation.
Yes. And so I got that out, and I think at least so far the big thing that I've worked on for my game, obviously only a month in, and thus living in the cold winter climate that we're in, I've been working on my putting, specifically just getting a consistent feel for how I approach a putt and how I actually go through a putt.
Yep.
One of the things that I was really bad about, even through last year, was I was very solid on, the 10, 15 foot putts. My problem was that I would kind of hyzer out on a lot of my longer distance putts because I wasn't releasing flat.
Yep.
And I even once I got to 17, 18, 19 feet, I had a lot of trouble getting a consistent aiming point, getting a consistent power, and I would just end up almost flashing the basket with the disc.
Yeah.
So that's the big part of my game that I have really started working on this year is just, and I started on this a little bit last year when I changed my putting stance a little bit. And so just changing how I go through a putt and then, basically how I throw my putts.
Yep.
And then hopefully once it gets warmer and I finally get a yard,
yes.
Actually, yes. Once I actually get some grass in my yard, hopefully actually being able to practice some longer putts, practice some putts in the wind. Because that was another thing last year. I just felt like if it was, even moderate winds, I felt like I just had no confidence going up to hit a putt.
Yeah. And that is difficult, especially right now this time of year, practicing only indoors. Although I'm sure you can set up a fan. Same idea, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, putting is definitely something everyone can relate to, and I like to think of it as like a free throw, not necessarily like it should be automatic, because free throws are pretty straightforward. The basket is always exactly 10 feet high. You're always exactly at the same position. Putting isn't, but you can have a routine that gets you in that right mindset. That gets you like, okay, I always put down my mini. I always step like this. I always do this. And then we go.
Yep. And that was one of the big things. Like I said, I played in a tournament last weekend and I signed up for it really last minute. And one of the things that I did, like I said, to get ready for it was to set up my basket and just go through and say, okay, my mini's down, take a step back, take a breath, step up to it, take a half step back to get my full stance, take a half step over to get my full stance, find the basket, tilt, all that exactly. Fun stuff. Go through a routine, go through the mental game. And it was something that honestly I noticed a difference in. Even after only a couple times, just having that consistent, this is how I am doing it, was really beneficial to me.
Yeah. 2 years ago, I started halfway through 2020. I really started working on my putting as well. And one thing I noticed that I was actually kind of surprised at was once I started getting that routine, once I started getting all that, how easy the 15 footers were. Roughly. Once you got that routine, now obviously wind, terrain, you're in a bush, whatever. But generally speaking, I was like, all right, okay, I could do this. And that just confidence just kind of builds, and it's a lot of fun there. But it was a lot of fun. The nice thing about the Mach Shift is that you can go from full chains to half chains to then shortened chains, and I mean you get different challenges. So even if you can only do 20 footers,
because that's all the space that you have in your basement, garage, whatever.
Yep.
You can still make that more challenging. You can still, there's still ways that you can focus on it. So I guess that's a little plug there for people that are looking at getting baskets, looking at getting some more practice in.
Yeah, I recommend the mock shift as well. I will say that I did make the chains skinny and then bring the basket down to the height of a disc. So was that 20 centimeters, give or take? And then I was putting from 20 feet. And man, did I feel terrible. Because I think I made, out of the 20 I threw at it, I want to say I made like 6. And they weren't pretty. I'll say that. But, like you said, I only have 20 feet to work with. I got to make it harder somehow. Otherwise, the circle's going to get bigger whenever the snow melts. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hard part about living. We talk about it. You and I are both from the Midwest. I'm from Indiana. You're from Illinois. We both live in northern Indiana.
Yep.
Our co-host on Half in the Bag lives and is from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
It's difficult.
Yeah. We don't live in Florida.
There's a reason why a lot of these pros are moving to like the big time pros. Now you find them like as far north as Tennessee, and that's about it. And they keep going south. Now you got those regional pros who are, in the Portland-ish area, or the upper northwest or the northeast, where they are regional pros.
Yeah.
Who still make it on tour, but just for that region. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then you have like everybody else lives south, where they can play all year long, basically.
Yeah.
Or they take their motorhome and travel south somewhere. The van life, living that van life. But
yes,
I am not
van
living
down
that
by
van
the
life.
river.
Yes, that is living in a van down by the river. But
I don't actually know what that's from. I just know that's a reference.
Saturday Night Live with Chris Farley, David Spade, and Christina Applegate.
Yes. Now that you mention it, I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. That's about it. Otherwise, I think that does it for this lovely interview. That was 22 minutes, 23 minutes we're going on here. That's pretty solid.
Like I said when we started, whenever you get 2 or 3 of us talking together, conversation doesn't tend to be short. So
generally not, but it was a good conversation. So, RJ, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed the interview. And for all of those listening, you can follow him at Half in the Bag DG on Twitter. There's also halfinthebag.com. And he currently has an article up on Joe's Disc Golf. Is light plastic right for you? I believe, was that the right?
Something along those lines.
Talking about the pros and cons of using lighter weight discs, essentially.
Yep. As I said, my favorite disc is the Lucid Air Escape. I talk a little bit about why it's my favorite disc and why, especially if you're a beginner or someone who doesn't have a big arm like me, it might be something worth considering. Yep.
You want to try my Lucid Air Moonshine Justice?
I would love to try that.
It's 159 grams.
Would. Yes. And as we apparently found out this week, light plastic isn't necessarily just for beginners. There are some pros that are struggling to find it right now.
Yep, that's it's not as popular, and that is something I didn't get a chance to talk about. But RJ is also a sports medicine guy, like I am, and Madison Walker is recovering from an injury. I didn't quite know she had. It sounds like she had an elbow injury, and per doctor's orders, she has to throw lighter weight plastic.
Huh? I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I found out a little bit more. Sorry if anybody hears a cat meowing, but Lucy says hi. She is my executive producer.
So
you don't have to comment
now I'm
on
just
that.
Imagining, as you said that it's doctor's orders for her because of an injury. Now I'm imagining Simon throwing like 150-gram discs.
Oh, geez. That's
After
why he
his
can throw
injury
the
last
tilt
year?
so far. It's only a 150-gram tilt. That's why he can throw it that far. Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Lucy. My executive producer says hi.
Oh man.
She was on
My
camera briefly.
agent. I think my agent is in sleeping next to the couch. So
Yeah. But so if anybody has any lightweight MVP or Streamline, I'm sure if you Google Madison Walker, you'll be able to find the spreadsheet, the Google sheet that she has up online, listing specific discs in specific weights or rough weight ranges that she is looking for. I do not have any of those. The only MVP disc I have is from when I signed up for the PDGA back in 2016, and they gave me a 150-something gram. I think it was a Tesla. I don't know. All I know is it didn't get great mileage.
yeah, I think
Come
I
on,
have
Elon.
like a Streamline disc.
Yeah, brands I'm just not familiar
Somewhere.
with. But
It wasn't something either.
I need to make a
But,
correction that I forgot to make. I made it on a different podcast entirely. Lucy, please stop. Is that I believe I said last week on this podcast that Innova made DGA discs. It's actually Discraft who makes DGA's discs. So I'll be curious to see what kind of spread that Katrina Allen has in terms of DGA versus Discraft. So, yeah. But I think that about does it up. Thank you for stopping by, RJ. Hope you have a
Thanks for having me.
great evening, a great weekend, and hopefully you survive the snowpocalypse.
We can only hope.
I know.
I think there's only 1 or 2 more rounds of shoveling left. So
No kidding. All right. Have a good night. All right. And that does it here. That was a great interview with RJ from Half in the Bag. Again, you can follow him at Half in the Bag Disc Golf. Actually, it's Half in the Bag DG on Twitter. You can go to halfinthebagdg.com to find out all of the latest Half in the Bag podcasts. We're on episode 4. We're going to be recording episode 5, and that will be out next week. We also have to thank all of you for listening all the way to the end here. Thank you all. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joe's Disc Golf, joesdiscgolf.com, or Facebook, Joe's Disc Golf. Constantly posting new stuff up there, and it is a whole bunch of fun. But, should be a good time. Thank you all. As always, I've been Joe. You've been awesome. Don't forget to thank Treesus when you have a great tree kick, and don't forget to repent and reflect when you have a less than stellar tree kick. Thank you all. Hopefully, at the time of publishing, you have bought your Captain's Raptor, the Yuli disc that will be launching at midnight Eastern Time. Everybody have a great day, have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you all next weekend.